I wanted it, but I don't want the same thing because I want to fly a kite.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the farm. I'm out here doing a little greenhouse check and watering because it went from winter to summer overnight. It felt like we were just like waiting and waiting and waiting for the warmer weather to get here, and we would get a little taste of it, but it's officially hit and pollen is in the air, allergy season is here, and it's a great time. I am not complaining in the least bit. I look forward to this time of year every year. It's absolutely my favorite. So I was actually just checking on the strawberries. It is really exciting. My kids will be thrilled with that. And so I was going to show you what we did. We had these huge culvert pipes left over from a project, and I saw them sitting there and I thought, that would make really good raised beds. And I asked Aaron about it and he kind of hemmed and hawed. I think he saw like project and I don't have time for that, which rightly so, I get it. And these culvert pipes into raised beds for our strawberries. I did asparagus in it because it tends to take over, and I didn't want it taking over pretty much what little space I do have, and I thought that would be a great way to kind of contain it. So I did asparagus, and then we're gonna do, I'm just covering up these. I've been having trouble with soil blocks and seed starting this year, which is not normal. It just makes me really wonder, like, was it the dirt? Is it something beyond my control? So I'm looking at possibly making my own soil mix, because I think it's coming down to the fact that we just can't rely on anybody else, unfortunately, but that's something for another day. I saw these culvert pipes and I thought these would make awesome raised beds. So I've got asparagus in one, and then these two are going to be sweet potatoes. especially since they vine and take over everything, that will kind of keep them contained. And then I've got these 3 filled with strawberries, which honestly I could have done a whole lot more. We have this patch over here where we had the strawberries, but since we added the blueberry plants and more fruit trees, it kind of redirected the flow of traffic back here to the tractor barn. So this overly weeded strawberry bed is now kind of in the way. So Amanda and I have been digging them up. We put them in those little raised beds, and then she's got like a Home Depot version of a green stalk. She's going to put some in, and then I don't know what we're going to do. Give some away and maybe come up with another raised bed option. But I'm pretty thrilled with this idea I had. Now that I've seen other people do it, I realized it wasn't such a bad idea. So this process is my least favorite of all gardening tasks, and that's the hardening off process. Like I said, it has just been a really tough year to try to get anything to germinate. These are tomatillos. They've got some weird thing going on their leaves. This one looks okay. I'm thinking it's probably nutrition related, since I don't think the soil's all that great, and they're too big for these cups, but I'm just going to harden them off and put them in the dirt, and hopefully they'll work. Everything's looking a little dry. I just gave them some water. These are squash and zucchinis. We were going to pot them up and sell them at a little market here in town, but I don't know if we're doing that this month, so whatever, we'll just have extras, that's okay. Onions and shallots are struggling. They're just on the struggle bus, but other than that, it's all gonna be okay. We're gonna grow lots of food, and we're gonna have a great season. Gracie is going to be so excited. That's her little strawberry plant that she bought with her own money, and she wanted it in her own pot in the greenhouse, so she's going to be super pumped for that. Maybe it's just me and my personality, but I tend to kind of look at the negative. I guess it's because I think if I make something worse than what it is, or I focus on that negative, I can fix that. So I stand out here in the garden, and while I love admiring its beauty, it's hard for me to not get distracted by the beauty, because it's hard for me to not get distracted by the weeds and just focus on the beauty, because I'm so like, what can I do next? How can I improve it? How can I make it better? If I can control the weeds, that sort of thing. So I'm out here trying to just focus on all the good, and it's really a struggle, because I'm looking at this wonderful garlic and it's covered in weeds, and I'm looking at my beds and all of the weeds are encroaching. So what I'm forcing myself to do is walk over here and look at these pretty little chamomile blooms, or the beautiful snap pea blooms that are taking off, and try to focus on the fact that I haven't never had a really good snap pea harvest, and this year might be the year for that, and kind of force myself to ignore problems and what's wrong and stay in a healthy balance, because you can't ignore problems to the point where it's not healthy. If you don't weed the garden, your weeds are going to take over and you're not going to have a good harvest. But I can't be so fixated on the weeds that I don't see the beauty of the snap pea blossom or the chamomile flower that's blooming. So that's one thing that the garden really forces me to do, is not get so fixated on what's wrong and what I can fix, but rather except that I cannot control the weeds, but I can put something in the garden that's beautiful, and I can focus on that while maintaining a happy balance with everything. And I think that's definitely a principle we can use in every aspect of our lives. Anyway, we are right on, like, just came into the week where we're past our last frost date, and we're at the point where we can really start to garden and start to see a harvest, and all the months of waiting and preparation all come down to this time of year. So I'm super stoked. This week we are going to, well, I'm going to be pushing for a big garden week and getting tomatoes in the ground, herbs in the ground, flowers, all the things, getting the stakes up for the tomato trellises, and planting cucumbers and squashes. It's going to be a good time. So I hope you'll stick around for all of that. And may the Lord bless and keep you. Until next time.